Good morning, everyone. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving and enjoy the break to refresh and also recharge yourself. So today we're going to continue the conversation about the quadratic function. And today we're going to introduce a new type of number, which is called imaginary number. So you probably so far have a lot of questions regarding what kind of number is this and how do we define it? Why do we call imaginary number? Is that like just imagine it? So hopefully this video can answer some questions. And before we start, let's check a warm-up. So this warm-up, as you can see, we are having several square root of some numbers, and we are going to simplify them. Let's check the first one. As you can see, 16 is a perfect square number, so we definitely know square root of 16, which is 4. And for second one is a little bit different because 8 is not a perfect square number. So what we are going to do is I'm going to break down 8 as a perfect square number, which is 4 times another number. So I can break down like this. So that's why this is 2 radical 2. So square root 8 I can simplify as 2 radical 2. Same thing here for 24. So some student might say, can I break down 3 times 8? So for this case, probably it's not the best idea because whenever you break down this, you always want one of the number as perfect square number. So 3 times 8, none of them is perfect square number. So that's why it's not so great. So instead, 3 and 8, I can break down as 4 and 6. So we are doing exactly the same thing here. So breakdown is radical 4, radical 6, and then 2 radical 6. See, that's it. For radical 50, same thing. We are going to break down the 2 number. So if you think 10 and 5, nothing wrong with it, but in order to simplify this kind of situation, this is not a good choice because I need one of them is perfect square number. So 25 times 2 will be a better position because 25 is perfect square number. So I'm going to keep this way. Okay, so you may wonder, why do we go back to think about the square root number here? The reason is imaginary number, we are going to deal with some situation like this. So that's why we just have a quick warm-up to simplify these numbers. Okay, to start our conversation, we are going to review a little bit about the quadratic equation. How do we solve it? So we have a quadratic function here. Question here, we need to find zeros. So which means I need to solve the equation. This is equal to 0, and I need to find a solution for this equation. This is basically, what does that mean? Find zeros. Okay? So what we need to do here is, we actually have multiple ways to do it, but you'll probably notice that if I use factor, I just couldn't find a 2 number. I multiply to get 6, but at the same time, I add them to get -4. It just doesn't work like that way. So what do we do here? We are going to use a universal way. Yes, you're right. We are going to use quadratic formula. So what we are going to do is I'm going to write down the formula here. So some of you already figure out I need to figure out the value of A, B, and C. So if I compare, let me write down here, A squared plus B squared plus C equal to 0. As you can see, 0 is here. So all I need to do, I just compare this. So A is 1, B is, do not forget the sign, -4, C is 6. So now I'm going to just plug in them. Do not forget, this is read as opposite B. So whatever the B here, I'm going to just put it as opposite number, which is 4. plus or minus b squared. So b is -4, so it's -4 squared. I always put a parenthesis to avoid, the mistake of the sign. So it's always a good idea to put a parenthesis. A is 1, then times 6. Divided by 2 times 1, because A is 1 here. So let's do some mental math. 2 times 1 is 2. -4 squared, which is -4 times -4, 16. 4 times 1, 4. 4 times 6 is 24. So the final answer we are going to deal with is 4 plus or minus 16 minus 24, which is -8. So if we stop here, you'll notice a very interesting thing is we actually have a square root of negative number. So based on what we know square root of a negative number, there's no way we can find anything, because a square root is finding a number to multiply itself to get this number, right? So that's why square root 4 is 2. Square root like 9 is 3, because we can just break down, because 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9. But the point is, there's no way we can find a number to multiply itself to get -8, because if I use negative times negative is going to be positive. So this situation is going to be, what is this number? Is that even like existed? Can I just say this is like no solution or what? So the situation here is, this is our solution. So the solution is solid. This is our solution. And remember last class we mentioned discriminant, which is b squared minus 4ac. This time b squared minus 4ac equal to -8, which is less than 0. So according to the conversation we had before is, it has no real solution. So we're actually expecting the graph look like this way. They do not intersect axes at all. But we still call this solution, but not real solution. So this is exactly why we call this not real solution, because this number, we have a different name for that. Okay. So in order to continue the conversation about dealing with number like what we mentioned, this, like the one we just saw now, we create a new definition of the number called imaginary number. The reason is, in real number system, we do have no definition for that, because it's just no value for this. So in order to deal with this number, we have a new definition to define imaginary number is. So square root of -1, we define this as I. That's actually matched to imaginary number I here. So this is definition. We name square root of -1 as I. So that case, if I have radical -8, I can break down as this way. I can break down this as 8 times -1. So that case, I can break down this radical 8 times radical -1. So for this one, we already know this is 2 radical 2. And then this one we know is I. So this I can write as is 2 radical 2i, or 2i radical. They are all equivalent. And relation between these two numbers is still multiplication. So you can even consider I just like, the position like this is more like a variable, like 2x, 3x. But here, whenever you see I in algebra 2, is radical -1. So I know this is probably, it's still, what? Why does it look like this way? I know you'll probably have several questions here, so we are going to practice a little bit. How do we simplify this expression in order to use I, and to help you have a better understanding of this. So radical of -9, as I mentioned, since it's negative, we are going to break down this as 9 times -1. So it's going to be radical 9 radical -1, and this, yes, is 3, and this, yes. So this is 3i, okay? So I want you try this 3 on your own, and later you can definitely pause the video here and compare your answer with my answer later. So again, this one I'm going to break down this as -1. So this will becomes 10i. Okay, this one, same thing. Whenever I say negative, I'm going to break down as 1 positive, 1 negative. So for this one, we already know it's I. Then radical 32, as we practiced before, I'm going to break down this as 16 times 2 because it is a perfect square number. So for the student, if you want to break down this as 4 times 8, you have to simplify more, okay? Because for 8, you have to simplify one more step. So for this is 4 times radical 2. So I'm going to break down this as 4 radical I, or you can write down as 4i radical 2. They are equivalent because they are multiplication, so you can definitely change the position. Last one, again, try on your own to see if you have the same answer as my answer. So this I know I, and the radical 18 I'm going to break down here. So think about what are the two numbers is a better option to break down the 18. So probably you already have it. So which is radical 9 and 2. So it's radical 9 times radical 2, which is 3 radical 2. So the answer is 3 radical 2i. Okay, so I just want you to focus on the final answer here to have a better understanding of what is going on for imaginary number. And hopefully you have a very good understanding for the first step. We're definitely going to talk more about imaginary number, but today I just want to give you a very, very basic understanding for this. And in the future, we are going to do more operations and practice about this one. So hopefully that will help you to understand this one in a better way. Thank you so much to have this lesson with me, and I hope this video is helpful. Definitely, if you're a little bit confused now, it's perfectly fine because it's a new topic. So we're definitely going to spend more lesson for this topic. So see you soon, everyone. Take care.